Hi, Busker909 here. That was my version of the intro to Purple Haze. That's what I'd like to show you today. I'll show you more of the song too, not just the intro. And I'm going to teach it in G, G, because so many people like to be in G. It's originally done in E standard tuning. Hendrix was known for dropping down a half step, but he didn't on his first album. Not on that song anyway. So if you want to play along with the record, you can just tune E, B, E. And your strings on your G, D, G tuning will go down to E, B, E quite easily without causing any problem. Probably be an easier instrument to play. So it starts off with the tritone. We're going to go up here to 6, 5 in the middle, and 6 over here. Now some tabs will just say it's this note. Well, the bass does this note. And that may or may not be true. In later versions it kind of looks like that, but on the original record I really do hear that note. So I play the 6 and the 5 in the middle, and then the 5 and the 6 on the high. Four times like that. The next lick, slide up to 12 on the middle string, 10 on the high, 15 on the high, 10 on the middle string. Now on guitar, this note would be right over here, so there isn't any sliding into it or anything like that. But I slide into it because it's a little bit far away. You can do that too if you want. But I like to slide into it. And then he does slide into what is 8 on the middle string, and then down to 3, then the low string open, then 3 slide to 5. If you listen closely, you can really hear that he slides into that. And into that. He does a lot of that. When you're transcribing Hendrix, you start to notice right away, it's one thing to get the notes, but then you start to notice he has a way of like sliding in or out of each note that makes it quite unique. And then you go up here to 12, or that area, and just slide down, like that. I'm not using a real distorted sound today for the lesson. I'm using kind of a clean bluesy tone, so you can hear all the notes. That's riff 1. It's also riff 2. Do it again. Then we go over here to the middle string. I slide into the 5. Now slide up to 7. Down to 3. That 7 and the 3 are on the high string. Now, sometimes, depending on what kind of strings I have on, if I'm in E, I usually bend up to that, because it sounds like a bend on the record to me. But in G here, where my strings are pretty tight, I slide into it. Basically from 5 to 7, but it's the 7 that's important. Next part of that riff is 3 on the high, 3 on the middle, then open, and then 3 on the low. I think that's actually a hammer-on. And then sliding down from 12 again. So I'll play that for you. Like that. And then it does another lick in the same area. So that's sliding into the 5 in the middle, 3 on the high, then 5 to 7 on the high, then 3 to the 5. Like that. And then to end it, you take the 5, pull it off to 3, and slide up to 12 on the middle, 2 10s on the high string, and then hammer on to 12. So I'll play that for you. And then we're into the chords. We use our version of the Jimi Hendrix chord, which is E7 sharp 9. Whoops, we're in G. G7 sharp 9. Like that. And then to the 3rd fret. And sometimes I throw in a lick. I'm not sure if it's there or not, but I just slide from 7 to 9. And then on the low string, and then the 5 on the middle. So it's like this. Just to sort of fill it in a bit. He does all sorts of different subtle stuff, and he has more than one guitar track as well. So that's just an approximation. First time around, you do that 5 times, and then you stop. And then there's this lick. That's octaves. So it's 14, 12, 10, high and low. And it's the beginning lick again. You might want to bend that or wiggle that a bit. Then you go into verse 2. You do that 3 times this time and stop. And do this lick again. Now this is where it starts to get really interesting, but we run out of frets pretty fast. I think the next lick is something like that, don't quote me. But what I do is I go to the chords, so 5th fret, and you can just let them ring if you're playing with the record, or you can strum them in any way you want. And then 7th fret, and then 10th fret, and then I make up a little thing that goes with the bass line. The bass line is something like, that's 5, 7, and 3 on the middle. So I add the low string. There's so many recordings of Purple Haze out there, but there's a couple out there that you actually find that lick is pretty strong when he has a second guitar player with him and stuff like that. And then, of course, there's a solo over that. But we're kind of missing a bunch of the notes for that solo that way. It would have to be done an octave lower, and I think that's kind of worthy of a whole lesson on its own, because it's a pretty neat solo with open ringing strings and other cool stuff. So you do that for as long as you like. Maybe you have a friend that's soloing with you or something. Then it does the intro again. It does it almost exactly the same, except at the very end, instead of going, it just does the first lick again. Then you're back into the chords. Another 3 times, and then this lick. Then your climb again. And the song does a fade with him pedaling on a bend on this note, an octave higher. Anyway, those are the main parts. If you're playing along with the original, as I said before, E, B, E to play along with the original. We're in G today. All those parts will get you through the song. You have to kind of make up your own solo at this point. Have a great day. Bye.